Hey guys, thanks for checking out the channel 180 Block Pass. We're starting this recording over because I need the results in my hand from last race to be able to really hone in on my predictions and why. Because let me just say, we're gonna do 450s first, and we are gonna go over 250s because I got my 250 prediction correct. I said Hayden, Juju, and I threw a curveball and I said Cole Davies for third, and I got all three of those right. Because, well, let's not get to that yet. 450s and then 250s. I do want to say, I usually don't buy shirts this big, but I was willing to sacrifice awesome for sets. So this is an extra large. I look very gangster, and I'm okay with that. So that's all I have to say. I needed to add that in, because otherwise, how would you know? You wouldn't know. Do I think Eli is going to take number one next round? I'm leaning towards yes. Is he going to be on the podium? Absolutely. 100%. Eli's going to be on the podium at Glendale. Now, between him and Jett, I'm not really for certain. There's a few things. The last race, as I mentioned in a video before, Jett said at the end of the race, he didn't say it on camera, he was talking to somebody after the race, he said the bike was not running good. I don't know if it was the rain, I don't know what it was, but the bike wasn't running good. And obviously they have a week to figure it out, but we're going to a Triple Crown, so there's that. The other thing too with Eli is the first race where he just fell over on the side, it was just, there was something weird about it. I think it had something to do with the track design, because just from my observations, I saw Ken Roczen where those tough blocks were. They were just weird. And they came around this curve and it was sharp. And the tough blocks are here. And at one point there, I don't know if it was ruts or just the line they were taking or what happened, but Ken Roczen jumped over the point of the tough blocks. And right after the point is where Eli just fell over. It was the weirdest thing. It was kind of a fluke race. So granted, the fall was at the beginning of the race, so he had time to work. So if he didn't get a good start, he still would have done well, is what I'm saying. So he got fifth. In San Diego, he freaking won and did an iconic pass, freaking full throttle through the sand that no one will ever forget. We'll be talking about it for the rest of the season, passing Malcolm and Jett, basically, essentially at the same time. I know my last video I said Malcolm, and I saw later, okay, he's passing Jett, but Malcolm was in the mix too. So anyway, so he passes them both and wins the thing. Okay. And then we get to this next race, Anaheim 2. He gets the whole shot. He gets the heat race. Granted, Jett wasn't in that one, but he still had a good gate pick. So I don't know if he was that bad off the line where he just got pinched out. I mean, if you look, I saw some footage of the back of the racers. So you saw their jerseys and you see the fleet going like this, and Eli's in the middle and literally just gets pinched off. There's no saving that one. So he's in 17th place, and very quickly, before you know it, he's in 13th, and then he's in 10th, and then he's in 7th, and then he ends 6th. Did he end 6th? 7th. Okay, so he did end 7th. But, if that would have been anyone else besides Jett, would they have ended up in 7th? Maybe. Cooper Webb was right behind him, and I think out of the gate he did better, but he was still behind him. So, what are we saying here? We're saying that Tomac is in straight beast mode and anything is possible. And I think he can beat Jett. I think everything is going to have to align perfectly for him to be able to do that. And he's just going to have to be fast. And I think there might be a possibility where some things have to be going wrong with Jett. I don't know. It's so hard to say because Jett can totally have an off day and then he can totally dominate. But I don't think Jett is going to be able to dominate like he did in the years before with how relaxed Eli is. And obviously this round is a Triple Crown. So Eli's good at Triple Crowns. Ken Roczen is good at Triple Crowns. Jason Anderson is going to be fully healthy, I would assume, by this point in time. So he's going to be doing well. I'd assume Chase Sexton is going to be feeling better. The cards are it's almost like Anaheim 1 all over again, because 1, it's the first Triple Crown of the season. And 2, the bikes are starting to get dialed in. They're fixing things that are just fixing starts, fixing little mistakes, not falling. Those things are starting to get in the mindset and start happening. I can't count Tomac out like I would. Last year, I would have put Tomac and Cooper Webb in the same position. Everyone's saying they're going to do really well, but there's a possibility that they're just going to not do well. Disappoint. There's oops. Oh, shoot. Hope that's Will. There's what is I trying to say? Good gracious. There's there was a possibility that we were going to be disappointed. between the two. I feel like Cooper Webb and Eli Tomac were like on the same level last season, but this season, not at all. Cooper Webb, he's where he was last season. The season before that, he is better than that season, but I still feel like he hasn't progressed from last to this. At least not yet. I haven't seen it. But Eli, like, he's just in a different era in his career, I guess. Totally possible to be on number one, and I could totally eat my words, but same for Jett. And Jason Anderson came out of left field and was leading the heat, leading the main. It was impossible to pass. He is slower, but like racing is racing. Nowhere in our sport does it say if you're the fastest guy, you're going to win. Chase Sexton is fast, but he's not coming on top. Jett's fast, but sometimes he's not coming on top, and then he's making silly mistakes. And I obviously know they're working through some things and they got to change bikes all the time, which I think is just stupid. And I also know like there's a possibility that the network is trying to manipulate it to make engaging, fun racing. But I think watching a freaking legend is just as fun. If he's 20 seconds ahead or however many seconds ahead of everybody, okay, well, he's 20 seconds ahead. You don't got to film him the whole time. Film the other part of the race like you did with Chase Sexton at Anaheim 1. You filmed the whole other part of the race, and then you got him going over the checkered flag. Like, what's the difference? See my point? But anyway, so there's that factor. And I also think if Chase Sexton doesn't get it together this race, like, I'm going to throw it away. Throwing him away. Taking them off my picks. I mean, 5th or 4th. Might get a 3rd every once in a while. A 1st if someone really messes up and he doesn't. But that's just, I don't know. I thought it was going to be different, but I don't know. We'll see. All I can say is we'll see. So who else? Let's finish our Tomac talk. So obviously last round he got pinched off at the start, but he went from 7, like he pulled what we would call a Jett. 5 positions from dead last, really last like 6 people. You just kind of probably blow by anyway. But that next 5 to 6, you got to work for it. I mean, I remember watching Eli and Barcia battling there for a little bit at the beginning at one of the races during this season. Justin Barcia has been riding well. And that's another person he has to pass. So, I mean, and Malcolm Stewart, and he rides well. I mean, he was hanging with the Lawrence brothers and Ken Roczen there for a little bit. He's got to pass him. There's other people that are riding well too that he's got to pass. I will say this. There was a lot of opportunities to be able to pass on this last track. So we have to keep that in mind too. So if he is riding faster, there's more opportunities to pass people, especially we had the 2-whoop section. So there's that. We had a bunch of the 180 turns and people were even passing on the straight. So, I mean, there was a lot of opportunity to pass. So we'll keep that in the back of our head. But the fact of the matter is, he pushed through and he got up there. He didn't fall again. He didn't get a 12 and he's there. When it comes to competing for the championship and the way that Jett's season started, points are probably going to be close. When it comes to the next race, being a Triple Crown, my heart wants Eli, but my mind says don't count Jett out just yet. But then again, it's a Triple Crown. Anything can happen. And I think Jett's at a point too where he's like, if I make any more stupid or silly mistakes, I'm going to make it so much harder for myself, and I might get to a point where I'm done. And at that point, I'm chasing money and a number, and I'm not chasing the title anymore. So I don't think that's where he wants to be, which is why I think he's going to do well, whether his bike's doing well or not. As long as the thing don't quit on him like it did Austin last year, he'll be fine. So I think he's going to be up there. I think Ken Roczen's going to do well. So we're going to go ahead and move on to Ken Roczen. Because yes, he has a red number plate. Yes, it's really cool. But he's also a wild card because if he does make a mistake, at least when it comes to the title, if he does make a mistake, it's going to be catastrophic because he's going to have to get going like quick. In the past, with the whole kickstart thing, I think he has fell and he was able to keep the bike from stalling, which was good. So that's a possibility too. He's also not going to take risks that are unnecessary, but he's also feeling really good. He's a great rider. All the greats are saying that he's an amazing rider. He is a good rider and he feels super comfortable on the bike. So post last race, kind of like how Jett was like, hey man, something's wrong with the bike. Ken Roczen was talking to all his people or whatever, and he was like, dude, the bike felt really good. So Ken Roczen mentally is comfortable because he's just enjoying where he's at. He's soaking it in, taking in the lights. The bike feels amazing. So as long as nothing silly happens, I think he's going to stay up there. I think he's going to be maybe even contending for the title through the season and not even realize it until he's like almost there. So there's that. I mean, I predict title-wise, Ken Roczen is going to be in top 5 for points. I predict that. I'm saying that now. Maybe even like 3rd. If it keeps going the way it's going, maybe even like 3rd. Bronze medal is fine too. But I don't know. The only thing that deters me from saying it is he's not going to take the risk. And just because his bike, I mean, it doesn't have electric start. Let's just be honest. So it throws a wild card when it comes to points. If you do make a mistake, catching up. But if he can focus basics and he feels comfortable on his bike and weather is great, the sky's the limit. So that's my theory on Ken Roczen. I think for this season, I think Jason Anderson has stepped above Cooper Webb, and Cooper Webb is behind Jason Anderson. Whatever happens, I think by the end of it, points-wise, Jason Anderson is going to be ahead of Cooper. I think that. I think Chase Sexton is another wild card because he has won a race. The dude is fast, but he keeps making simple mistakes. And I don't know if it's, as we talked in the last video, just the way he rides with the rear end really low, and it doesn't push the front tire through the turns, apparently. I think the mistakes are going to keep happening. And if you're so comfortable and you're riding so fast and you're a superstar, like, do you change everything? Do you change? I don't know. I guess it depends how bad you want it. So I think he's also a wild card. He is up there with Cooper Webb because last year I was like, Cooper Webb's going to get a podium. Cooper Webb's going to get a podium. Chase Sexton's going to get, and they would both disappoint me. I'm tired of being disappointed. He's fast. I don't think he's going to win. I think if it comes down to Chase Sexton and Eli Tomac, I think Tomac's going to outdo him because this last race, Chase couldn't pass Roczen, and usually he does. He did in the past, but Roczen bike is dialed apparently, and he's feeling good. If he's feeling that good, I just don't foresee it happening, you know? And if Roczen gets another freaking podium, it is a triple crown, so maybe it's more likely, but it's also more likely to make mistakes because of the 3 races. So there's that. But other people can make, oh man, it's just so hard to tell. Who else can we talk about? I mean, those are your top guys. I think Dylan Fernandez is a threat. Hunter Lawrence and Dylan Fernandez, I know Hunter passed him, but I don't think they're much different. So as I said that I think Jason Anderson and Cooper Webb are kind of like on the same thing, but now Jason Anderson is above. I'd say the same thing with Dylan Fernandez and Hunter Lawrence. I think they're right there, and I think this, because obviously he got tangled up with Aaron this last race, so I think this next race and Tampa are going to decide who stacks up between those two. So I think those two are pretty even. I think Malcolm and Aaron have been pretty even. I think Malcolm might be a step ahead. It's hard to say because they both have had incidences. So we'll see on that. I think the next 2 races determine those. I think Justin Cooper is a top 10, but with how well all these guys are riding, he's kind of a wild card if he's going to get top 5. And if now that he has led a race and he's got that under his belt and he knows mentally how to prepare for it, he might be more of a threat. Because last year he was super consistent. So there's that as well. And last year was his rookie season in the 450s. So he's only going to get better. Justin Barcia is riding way better than he did last year. I mean, I would say that's your top guys. I mean, just look at this list, though. I mean, these names are crazy. If you took Jett Lawrence and Eli Tomac out of the mix, I think Kenny could win a title on a Kickstart bike. I really do. Because if he's feeling that comfortable and he's that consistent, I think so. But Eli is just fast, and he's proven that. So I don't know. We're just going to have to... That's it. That's all I got. So I have to call it. So I'm going to say for 450s. Eli, no. I'm going to say... see, this is what happens. I always go back and forth. Jett still needs to make things up. So Jett kind of needs to win again. If Jett doesn't win this race, he's going to win Tampa, hands down. As long as he doesn't get hurt. So I think Jett's going to win. I think Tomac's going to be second, and I think there's going to be a battle between Chase and Roczen. And if one of those goes down, there's not going to be a battle, and one of them people are going to be in third. And I don't think Chase can afford to go down again. I don't think he wants to sleep at night if he goes down again. So third, screw it. I want to see Ken Roczen on podium again. Ken Roczen third. Let's go. Let's go, Kenny. Chase fourth again. Okay, let's look over the 250s real quick. I feel like Hayden might get it done at the third race. Like, I think he's going to win the first race. I think he might have problems in the second race. And he's going to finish it off in the third. I don't think he's going to capitalize the whole race. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. I guess I hadn't even looked at the track. I'm an idiot for not looking at the track. Okay, so that kind of plays a factor. And then I think there's going to be more of a battle between Juju and Smith. I think it's going to be Juju, and then I think Smith's going to get a podium for third. Because he needs it. He needs redemption bad. There is 3 races, though. But I also had heard that, like, Cole Davies has beaten Hayden before. But this is just a different thing. But now he knows what it feels like. He's there. Now he's probably got his head down, and he's like, all right, next race. Let's see what else we can do. So I don't think Cole Davies would be anything less than 6. For sure. Top 6. But one thing I want to say about Hayden is, yes, he won last race, but he was hungry and he wanted it, and so he got it. He went after it and he got it. But I feel like he was making a lot of mistakes. Obviously, he made that huge mistake after running the Juju up on the berm. But even like after that, like even when I was watching him in qualifying, it just seemed like he would come up to the end of like a jump and then into the turn, and it seemed like his back tire was like hitting the top of the landing ramp like it happened multiple times. So if he keeps doing that, like he's really going to screw himself over. Another thing I noticed is sometimes he jumps straight out and just lands in like, I guess the apex of the turn, like in the middle, like here's the turn, here's the point, and his whole bike lands right here, and then he just goes. So it just seems like a really hard landing. Now I have to see if there's, what is the track going to look like? Glendale track map. Yo, I'm so hungry. Oh, that's right. This one's kind of like, okay. Yeah, I remember now. There's a lot of rhythms. I don't think there's going to be a lot of mistakes, and I think if someone falls, it's gonna be bad. This one's going to be interesting. I feel like Hayden does really well ripping around a turn or whatever and like setting up for the next rhythm or jumps or whatever. So it's like rhythm, boom. So there's going to be a lot of inside, outside, and like switching and try to find. This is going to be fun because I feel like a lot of the passes are going to be side by side jumping. So hopefully we don't get no cross-threading. In this race, there's not going to be, if you make a mistake, like you're done. You're not going to have that last 5 minutes to really like get up on the positions. Like you're done. But with that being said, the straightaway, the gate, and the turn and all that looks good. I don't know. I'm excited not to have to do stupid heat races and just go for it. This will be fun. This will be fun. This should be really fun to watch. I think Hayden's going to, I don't know, man. I think a lot of things. I think that this race is going to determine the mindset that the riders have from this point forward. Well, because it's different, it's Triple Crown, it's going to be a little bit different. The end of Tampa, for sure, which is the next race, it's going to determine the headspace of the riders and where they're going to end up. So we might not have to wait. This one's going to be fun, guys. I think we're just going to have to watch and see what happens. There's no more, oh, what about this or what about that? It's just like, it's game time and we're going to see what these riders have to do. So Hayden, Juju, Jordan, and there's going to be a battle between Jordan and Juju. That's my guesses. All right, what are your predictions? What are your guesses? Is there something that you know that I don't know? Because honestly, I didn't do a lot of research on this one coming up. This is just my thoughts. This is supposed to be an easy recording for me, a fun recording, and I really am curious to see what other people think and have some kind of like engagement conversation. Obviously, I like talking because if I didn't like talking, I wouldn't be doing this. So comment below what you think. Like this video if you like it. Subscribe if you want to check out more of my content or whatever else. And thanks for joining me. I'll see you later. This is 180 Block Pass. Yeah, that's good enough. All right. See you guys after the races.